Welcome to the Community ROI podcast. Here, senior community experts, founders, and C-level managers tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about how community impacts business growth. By listening to these conversations, you'll get actionable steps on how to connect community goals with business goals to skyrocket business growth while still bringing extreme value to community members. My name is Yurii. I help people and brands shine through communities and personal connections. And my guest is Pauline Sumowski, a community strategist with over 7 years of practical experience, who definitely knows how to turn engagement into real business impact after successfully scaling the community and Brigad to over 20,000 members and delivering 250 plus events. And now continues her journey as a global community and partnerships lead at Fiverr, growing the freelance economy, and founder of WeTalk community, empowering women and non-binary people in hospitality to express their voices. So welcome, Pauline.
Hi, Yurii. Thank you for having me.
Super happy to talk to you. We've been on this LinkedIn bubble all there. We have so many mutual
We
connections,
have,
but never talked in real life. Now it's time to fix it.
yeah.
So let's do it. And let's start with the easiest question. So what is one community activity that you enjoy the most and why?
Well, it's an easy one. I'm a sucker for in-person meetups. And you know what? I think it's something that when you work with bigger organization, they're always kind of reluctant because it's hard to scale. It's really hard to measure the ROI. But I think if you do it right and you put the right metrics right at the beginning of any in-person meetups, you learn how valuable it is. And I absolutely love it. And I think when you start your brand, you start your community, or you really want to get to know the people, the community you're gonna work with, you need to meet them in person. Um, I'm based in London, and I work with Fiverr to build a community first in the UK. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna understand who these people are? And we started with a small breakfast like meetup in London, and I've learned in an hour so much about what make these people tick, why they're freelancing, why they're on Fiverr, why they're doing what they do, and then really know okay, how am I going to scale this? How am I going to make sure I build the community for them and for the business? So yeah, this is my jam. I love seeing people in real life.
For them, it's an easy part because I feel like
Mm,
every community builders, they're always open to people. They're always empathetical. And if you ask them to help people for nothing, they will do it wherever they ask.
yeah.
The harder part is like for business. So what's in
Mm.
it? What's in-person meetups for business?
So basically, what we would do is like, okay, business, for example, they want to target talent who earn X amount on the platform. Um, they are bringing X amount of revenue. We need to kind of understand how we can build a product better for them. So what I would do is I would just then kind of do this kind of focus group, networking event, panels with this audience, with this community that the business want to kind of target. And I think that's when I got the buy-in for leadership quite straight on for this in-person event is that, okay, this is the people I'm going to target. This is the community I'm going to target, how I'm going to do it, and what is the outcome, because the outcome is what you want. So giving you an example, we've started to do these panels in-person panels, conference, we call them, in London, where we would have top-rated freelancers on the platform come and share their advice, experience to other member of the community with very actionable, concrete advice, example on how to grow their business. And then we collaborated with internal teams for these guests who came to the event, who are then really engaged with the brand and want to learn and want to grow and want to earn more money. And then we would then pass these like list of guests, people who came to the event, to internal teams for them to be fast tracked into the next level on the platform. So we use this event as like a lever to support community growth. And then we'll have really specific key metrics, how X amount of guests will enroll into this kind of evaluation promotion program. X amount of them will be promoted, and then that will mean that X amount of them broke X amount in over revenue. So then you attach like community goals into a very, very like strategic part of the business is just supporting the community, and certain people of the community make more money. So that's what I love. I love like in these events is that it's just you create this really a virtual circle, like attaching community goals to business goals.
What's in it for those freelancers who share their experience? Because once again, for business, okay, I understand this, but how do you motivate those experts to actually deliver those webinars?
Yes, so we are very interesting as well, and it's something I love about building community is building advocates and grow community members who are kind of engaged with the brand into advocates, into thought leaders. So we're interested in the thought leadership strategy. So what we would say and do say, like, hey, you've been engaged with the community means like you've been really active on the forum organically, because these people kind of want to share as well their knowledge, and I think these people are very interesting in sharing, and they find that already valuable. What I say to them, what we would love to do is for you to show your expertise. And I think when you tell people exactly what we do here when inviting you on your podcast, right? I think people buy into people. So I think there's nothing better than community members telling other community members why they should join the community, why they should do this and that. I think, and what we've been saying to these community members is, hey, this is the incentives. First of all, you're gonna be on that social. A big organization, you have millions of followers. This is great visibility for you and your business. First of all, okay, great. It means then you're gonna be seen as a mentor among the community. And this is something we are building as well internally, is building this framework for community members to become mentors. And then we put that into your program. So building as well as really strong structure framework for the community members to kind of grow into this community journey from being contributors onto the forum to thought leaders. And I think that's very, that's what it kind of like really motivated the members to take part.
And I feel like it's also the best part that you are helping freelancers to grow their brand. That's exactly what every freelancer is struggling with, and that's what they need. So basically, you're giving them what they need by kind of like taking what community needs. So you finally kind of like created this circle that ever like I don't even call it like chicken egg, but it's like this continuous circle of improvement.
Absolutely. And what is amazing working with the freelancer community is everybody is their own business owner. They're all, like we're talking when we're preparing that chat, they're all like entrepreneurs. And I love seeing them as such. I think people are building the business, They are, even though, again, they're on their own most of the time. Some of them are small teams, some of them on their own, but they're building a brand, they're building a product. How can we internally then support that? Because supporting this will support our business ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. That's also what I heard many times on this podcast. That's when you are investing in your community members, when you're helping them to build their businesses, you build your business. And it's like one of the best ways to deal with this. And let's take a step back and come a little bit to a definition. So what's your definition of a community for business?
It's so funny because when I was preparing that chat, I was like, okay, what is it? Like, obviously, I think, first of all, organization business really need to make the distinction between community and audience. For me, community for business, people who are already advocate for your brand without you asking them to, and people talking about you without you in the room. This is how I see community for business. And you've managed to build something that it's a safe space. It's a space where people can grow and feel that they're part of something meaningful, and they talk about your brand, your organization, without you asking them to do so. For me, that's community, and it's a lot about as well mentorship. As I said, it's a lot about supporting each other, and it's about talking about to other members, whether you're in the room. I think once you know that people are talking about you outside of the organization, you kind of need. For me, you feel like okay, in a positive way, obviously, you feel like okay, this is you kind of nailed it in terms of community building and community belonging.
Yeah. And what's your
If that makes
definition of
sense.
a community goal?
Community goal. I think obviously depends on so many like of the business and the company, but I think I'm just trying to return to my notes and stuff because I think it will depend what you want to reach. I think if you want to reach growth, do you want more members into your community, you have to look at referrals, you have to look at maybe partnerships. That's something I'm really interested in as well, is like partnering with established communities. And you're looking at, okay, we want to grow X amount of talents of community members in this specific category by partnering with a specific brand, a specific organization, a specific community. Or if you want more like thought leaderships, then I would say it's like increasing the amount of advocates on your community, um, and people who are learning, like working themselves up. I think one of our goals in the community at the moment is how many people gonna go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. So I think that's kind of like increasing that kind of that amount of talent to like wear themselves up. So really depend on the business and the business goal again. I think talking about how these two are linked, they are going hand to hand.
Yeah, that's something that many companies are still missing, and also
Oh yeah.
it's hard for me to say, but many community builders are missing. They are
Mm,
forgetting about connecting community with business, and that's
yeah.
exactly what usually people are hired for, to build community for business. You need to always keep this in mind. And the best thing, once again, we always speak like with the language of heart, with the language of examples.
Mm,
So give me an example of some memorable experience that you've had with one of the communities you work right now or worked before, like anyone that you loved personally as a
yeah.
human, and that also helped to achieve any of business goals.
Yeah. So a program that I've helped building with my previous company, and I work hand in hand with the product team. So we were kind of struggling to see how, so like working with these community of hospitality professional, how do we support freelance hospitality professional getting promoted, working themselves up. So I worked on a POC, like a proof of concept for 3 months, reaching out to a pool of 100 community members from different kind of jobs, from kitchen porter to head chef, and understand what is the kind of natural evolution they would like to see in our product.
Hmm.
And we did a lot of tests. So for example, you were like a kitchen porter. How do you become a commis chef? What is the different steps for you to be able to become that? So we create resources. We would create training for each kind of level. And then I tested that by myself manually with 100 people to kind of prove that could work. And then we built next 3 months with the product team to integrate fully that structure, which we call level up, into the product. And we literally got amazing testimonials, amazing feedback from the community saying, hey, and I think at the end of the day, people need to earn. I think people, obviously, we're talking about business growth, we're talking about building your brand, etc. But at the end, people need to make money, right? So I think what was so rewarding for us is hearing these members saying, now I earn X, now I'm able to provide more for my family. Now I'm able, that change, and I'm not using that term slightly, like we had people saying that changed my life because I'm more financially independent thanks to that program, the training program. I can go on a holiday finally, and this is when you work with freelancers, you know how tough that is because if you don't work, you don't earn. This has been a very proud moment in my career, and I loved it because it was such a team effort. With working with tech, working with product, working with marketing, and then we work with the PR team to kind of like work on a really nice press release on how we worked. We launched that program. So yeah, I think it was one of the highlights of my career, short career so far.
So, I had a conversation with Ruthie Berber, who also told that they built some community program into the product, and it's like their community is specifically a part of the product, and that's how driving their business go forward, because people are learning, they're always coming back, and they're subscribing, and they're moving their subscriptions like higher levels and all this stuff. So they're moving forward because of that. So I'm curious, from your example, how building this level up program into the product, how it improved the business itself.
So how it improves the business is that we've managed to move, I would say I would say X amount of the community into that top tier, which then brought much more like revenue into the business. So because people work then they earn more, bringing more business to the business. So then the revenue really it kind of skyrocketed, if I remember quite well. We had like 10,000 members enrolling into the program and working themselves up and bringing more money. In terms of business goal, we kind of nailed it on that side. Yeah.
What was the hardest part of building this program?
I think I think that was understanding exactly the needs of the community and making sure it was realistic in terms of building in the product. And especially for me, I don't have any product experience at all. I'm not a tech person at all. It's me coming up with all my ideas to the tech and product team and saying, hey, like, what are you talking about? This is not doable. Coming back into that kind of strategy in the first place and see how, okay, with what we need to achieve, this is how we can implement it in the product. And it's why it was so interesting. It's just, okay, this is you can have a million of ideas of what you want to do with your community, and then obviously there is the reality of the business of the product that you're building and the constraints. So I think that was the hard part, is kind of stopping myself from coming with this million of improvement and then building something that was realistic and has still impact.
I feel like it's the hardest part when you have a lot of ideas to specifically choose what idea, first of all, what can you implement, and what idea can really move the needle. Because once again, there are so many ideas, and if you ask community members or users, everyone will share with you something, but it doesn't mean that they really need it.
No,
So you need
exactly.
to go so much deeper to understand what is the real need. So I'm curious, from your experience, how to understand that what people tell you that they really need it.
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a really good question. Yeah, talking to community, hosting focus group when you have really deep conversation with the community, and community bringing the same constant feedback, that you kind of that needs to that's where you're gonna exactly that you're gonna move, that's gonna move the needle. So and you mentioned it earlier, community is your product. So it's listening to constantly and have the conversation on a regular level, and have as well this quality conversation with your community when you sat down for a few hours and you understand what are the main pain points of them, like they're facing. And then if this feedback comes back, I think this is kind of like the sign for you to say, okay, this is why we need to change things then.
Yeah, it's always like searching about some patterns and something
Mm-hmm.
that keeps coming and coming and coming back because
Absolutely.
it's easy to jump and solve something right away, but at some
Yes.
point you may see that no one really needs this. And
No,
yeah,
exactly. And then you have to make it like you have sometimes as well to just what is something that people need now and could be a quick win, but then does it really align with the long-term goal of the business and what you know will just make a difference? Um, and as well, like as a community person, I'm being reached out to a lot of organizations to just, oh, we'd love to implement this into your community, reach out by banks and investment and I'm sure your community would love that, would be. And then you have this conversation and you're like, oh yeah. And then you talk to people and say, no, this is not what they need. This is not what's going to change things for them. So is I think it's really as a community builder, you have to kind of like have this kind of self-awareness as well of what not self-awareness, but kind of awareness of what people need actually
yeah.
for them to just really grow in a meaningful way.
Talking about teams. So
Yeah,
there are some teams, for example, like sales teams that they don't really need all other teams. Their job is to go on the market, bring
yeah,
people, sell them, whatever. They forget about it.
yeah.
Community can't work like that. So it's
Mm,
horizontal organization. It has to work with different teams. It has to help other teams. They have to constantly ask for a feedback. So you already mentioned at least three teams. So it was product team, marketing, PR. So I'm
yeah.
curious, what three teams do you usually work the most with when building a community, and how does a community impact them?
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, product is the team we're working mainly with. Why? It's kind of because they're coming to us for community feedback on how to improve features, how to improve feature, to add new feature. Um, so I would say we have a constant collaboration with them, and and what is interesting is um like these teams, they obviously they have their roadmap, you know. They know what they need to target, and sometimes they kind of forget this adjustment to make because they don't really like they have to take a step back and say, okay, is this really improving the life of our community? Is it really supporting them? Is it gonna really help them? Um, and this is where the community comes in because we have this kind of deeper understanding and we have all the touch points with the community, and that's why it's so interesting. So if you're building a community platform, we are at Fiverr using Gradual for the community platform. So we have the forum on there. We have different events and stuff. So um communities is the touch point for community. So I think product is the main one. I would say, yeah, marketing, brand, PR, because what we want to do, and I think that's why coming back to that thought leadership, um, the thought leadership I was talking about it, how we really want to support the community to be more visible. And as I said, build a business, build a personal brand. So we're going to always push that. How can we push a few community members and to be more visible outside and talk about what they do and their work? So constantly as well working with these teams, talking like we work a little bit with sales now as well. And that's why I think it's very interesting. It's how can we build case studies for the sales team as well. So we freelancers doing amazing work with organization, with businesses. How can we build this into case studies for the sales team to pitch them to the future clients, future customers. Um, we as well we kind of I'm really interested as well in partnership with organizations. So how do we um bit like how community as well can go to conferences, trade shows, and
Yeah.
support sales team to kind of bring that pipeline into the business as well. I think that's quite interesting as well. Okay, we want more specific, I don't know, specific talent into the community. Why don't we go to this SEO conference in London where we
Mhm.
can talk about potential new freelancers or new buyers or new clients who would be kind of already very qualified leads for the
Yeah.
sales team. And then they come in the community and they know you and they talk to you already, so that you already have these kind of engaged people. So I think seeing like you must be mad to be an organization and not see the value of community.
Yeah, it's I really love that you brought sales team inside because many
Hmm.
community builders they kind of like try to as they say safeguard community from
Yeah.
sales, which is kind of like nah. I don't think that is the best way to do it because once again, when you supercharge sales team, when you connect with them, they are on the forefront of the organization, same as community builders. So they are speaking to clients and community builders are speaking to clients existing or
Mm,
potential. And when you make this collaboration work, I truly believe that it's the best way for business to grow because you're
absolutely.
forefront of business, like two teams that always talking to people, they are build like creating this tandem and they're working together to make people happy, of course, and also to sell more product. It's like match made in heaven, I would say.
Yeah. No, exactly, exactly. And in my previous role, I would go to account manager, and our goal was kind of engage and grow our community of on the other side of thing of I would say businesses, organization. And they were like sales team had a lot of blockers with procurement, HR, and not finding the way to kind of get like to get in touch with them and really grab them. So what I would do is that I would and or host HR breakfast where we invite HR people from the organization we're trying to target and understand their pain point, understand their need, and how community can support that. Um, and that was the best word to describe for this team, like this team collaboration, because then we would impact directly, community would impact directly revenue, um, and sales pipeline and relationship with big clients. And then the business was like, okay, this is gold because then you are you're using community in such a smart way for your business. So yeah.
We've been talking in the very beginning about community impact internally, how to talk to leadership, how to kind of like build these connections. And I always say that when you are working with external community, you are building two communities
Yeah.
because you are building external and internal community.
Oh
So I'm
yeah.
curious, how do you bring visibility to the overall community impact on business internally?
Yeah, internally. You know what? I just talk about initiatives all the time internally on our Slack channel. I think people must be bored of it. I see my name pop in at some point. Hey, we did that. And I think yeah, just shout about it. Has the sales team always talk about, oh, we just closed that client, etc., etc. We do. I try always to do when I work with brands and organization and in my previous job as well. I'd like, okay, this is we need to be vocal about what we do. So, but again, as community, you don't want people to think, oh, this is fluff. It's you're just bringing the vibe. No, it's just not sharing photos of videos of like, hey, we had such a great time. No, you coming with um I do is that I will just post on what was the goal of that community initiatives, what are the outcome, and how to support the business, and what are the next steps, and how it was a collaboration with a lot of different teams. And the more you do this, the more then teams will always think about you when they want to support of community. So, giving you an example, um, we for the last 6 months, and when I started working as a consultant for Fiverr, I've started to implement a lot of community programs, initiatives, and put it out there on the Slack channel of the business. And then recently we had the tech team, the R&D team coming to us and saying, hey, we saw that this community in London is extremely engaged. We saw your post, etc., on the Slack on the business Slack. We'd love to meet the community team in London, the community of freelancers in London, because we think there'll be a great pool of people to get deep feedback about the product. And then it's great because you see how impactful community then is. And then we're building reports as well. I think building reports on community initiatives, tagging people internally, so to make sure they see this, see like the initiatives you're doing, is very important as well. So just be very vocal about what you're doing and why, and talk about the outcomes.
You mentioned Gradual. Shout out
Yeah,
to Josh Zerko. He was
yeah.
one of the previous
I
guests.
know, I
So,
know.
in addition to this platform, what is your ideal community tech stack looks like?
I think it really depends of the maturity of the business and the size of the community. I'm building my own community through WeTalk, and I find a Substack for my community goals, and the content I want to create is a great platform to build community and start. I don't want to scale, but start a bit scaling the community in a meaningful way, and bring that community growth with and link into content. So I think Substack is great. Substack is great. Gradual is amazing if you have a big community and you want to build um this really big like online community with a forum, with a blog, with an event section. And I think as well we tried, it's something I'd love to try a lot of different things. I think WhatsApp can be a great way as well for community engagement, community building. But it comes with a lot of constraint, but it can work. I'm trying to think about a lot of, I haven't really tried again. I'm quite really curious to try Discords. I haven't tried it yet. I know a lot of community people use it, so I'm kind of like tempted to kind of play around with it a little bit. Um, Circle is really good. So I'm part of like a lot of entrepreneurs network while using Circle.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really well built product as well. I
Yeah,
think just play around with, the platforms and see what's best for you, really.
you didn't talk about AI. So, how do you use AI in your community building process?
AI. Now, you know what? I think for me, AI is a brain enabler. It's just I think when I've got a lot of ideas or a big task, it really help to break down into different smaller tasks. I think it's great for market research as well. Um, I try to be to kind of like what's the word in English? I have a blank sense. Like I try to stop myself from using AI too much. Sometimes just when I want to kind of build something authentic, so I will know where to use it and when not to use it. So when I
Yeah.
do strategic thinking, I try not to use it. But then when I want to build into a structure, framework, and I'm struggling to understand how to start with, I will use AI. And I would say because the organization I work with now, like Fiverr, they're very AI focused, AI native. It really pushed me to explore different AI tools and being very conscious of the way I use it. So I've started to play around with code and what it can do, and I think it's kind of brilliant as well. Um, does it answer your question?
Yeah, of course. You
Yeah.
talk about community tools that you are using, AI tools.
Mm,
I mean, and
mm,
also, to your point, sometimes people take tools and then they create problems to solve, which is like
Mm,
not a very good way to start, because it's better when you
mm,
have some challenges and then you search for tools that can help you solve. That's a more productive way, I would say, to go.
absolutely. And what's the I think I would say as well is when I'm kind of stuck in, I have a clear image in my head of what a landing page for our community could look like. But I'm struggling to kind of envision it. I use Float, for example, to build a landing page for me. No, we're not gonna use it. But it really helped me to see, oh, okay, this is how the program's gonna look like, and this is how I want community to see it. So I think it really helps you kind of see the biggest big picture, and when you have a great idea and how to see it like visually what can look like. I'm sure there's much smarter way as well to use it. I think I need to kind of deep dive into a bit more on how to use it in smarter way for work. But kind of like like a work in progress for me.
And also to your point that it's easier to talk to the IT team, because when you are explaining what you want to achieve, it's like the
Mm,
first one thing. But when you are showing exactly what you like, they, oh, now I get it. So they are kind of like prototyping, and it's helping a lot with, doing this prototyping. And, I have so many questions and I wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit.
yeah,
So
I
the
know.
final question, what is one thing to do right away for someone struggling with identifying their community ROI?
Yeah. So I think you need to be very aware of business KPIs and OKRs. Um, talk to like obviously understand what leadership wants. Talk to leaderships if you can, if you have the possibility to be in a room with them, or and understand what are the business goals, and then look at your community, what you've built, what they want, and make sure you kind of match these two. And I think it's really hard to do at first when you start like when you I think it's really easy to build community initiative on its own. It's kind of and they're kind of isolated, and then they're great for the community itself. But then when leadership comes in, okay, when the CMO comes with the RI, then you're like, okay, we have X amount of attendees at the event. Great, but how does that impact our business? But we have managed to get X amount of people who are who are gonna open a new, I don't know, are gonna open a new gig after this event. They're going to be promoted to the next level. And what does that mean for our business? Then it's gonna bring X amount of revenue. And so understand the business goals, and then you can tie up better with your community RI.
Last but not least, name 2 people I should reach out to talk about community ROI.
Absolutely easy. You should talk to Lara Sheldrake. She's the founder of Fun and Flourish, who is a network for business entrepreneurs in the UK, and a really good friend of mine. She is brilliant. She is amazing at talking about building community, and building profitable businesses, but with impact and purpose. And I would say talk to Michelle Beltricitis, who is the Associate Director of Community and Social Impact at Fiverr, who is actually brilliant at building the community at Fiverr as well. So reach out to these 2 power hours of women.
What is one question about community ROI that I should have asked you but didn't?
I think you've kind of nailed it with the question. I'm trying to think if there's something I haven't mentioned that I wish I did. No, I don't think so.
Got it. Got it. If there will be any questions,
Yeah,
please share them with me, because you will definitely help to improve this
yeah,
podcast
I
and
have a
move
think about
forward.
it.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
Pauline, thank you so. First of all, I'm super happy that we finally connected.
Yeah,
How on earth we were not connected in this community world? We are both community experts. We are working with freelancers.
yeah, I
How
know.
the hell we didn't know each other? How we didn't work? But now
I know.
we're fixed it. And thank you so much for sharing your super valuable experience. not just from, an expert who are like building a business, but as a freelancer, as a freelance expert who works with the same freelance experts. It's like double extra super valuable experience. So thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you so much, Yurii, for having me. It was great talking to you.
And see you in the community world. And thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about how the community can help you reach and overcome your business goals faster, let's connect on LinkedIn and talk about it. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.